Hari Om, welcome to the next story from the Upanishads, and today's story is taken from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Brihat itself tells us how vast that Upanishad is, and just like the Chandogya Upanishad, even the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad has a lot of examples, similes, and stories. Today's story is a dialogue between a husband and a wife. Not just some husband and wife, but this is a dialogue between a very great sage who was very well known for this depth in the scriptural knowledge that he had, his ability to debate, his ability to that confidence that knowledge had given him, and he also had a big ashram, many disciples, and he was one of those who was also ensuring that this knowledge is passed on generation after generation. I am talking of sage Yajnavalkya. Those of you who have heard of a few episodes from any Upanishad would have definitely heard of the name Yajnavalkya. So, sage Yajnavalkya had two wives. The younger wife was Katyayini and the older wife was Maitreyi. Now, sage Yajnavalkya had led a life that was completely dedicated to spreading of this knowledge of the Upanishads, the essence of the Vedas, which is otherwise called the Vedanta, which is hidden in the Upanishads. So, sage Yajnavalkya was always involved in ensuring that this knowledge is absorbed by people, is propagated among the people with absolute clarity, without any room for any doubts. So, because of this, he was very highly respected and he had a lot of disciples under him. And it was always the case that the king of the land would invite such knowledgeable people. Every now and then there would be debates in the kingdoms, and the sages would readily go and participate, not simply because they wanted to prove something, but they had compassion for the masses and they felt that this highest knowledge should reach all, because one doesn't know who is ready when to take it into greater depths in terms of study. So, being patronized like this by the various kings, he had also amassed a lot of wealth in terms of cows, anything that is required for the ashram. Of course, gold coins also, because any ashram at the end of it must provide basic necessities for its people who live in the ashram, isn't it? And yajnas and yagas, for everything they would need, and cows were a big asset, milching cows especially. So, sage Yajnavalkya had amassed a lot of this. So, he was not worried about how his ashram would run in the future. Now, at one point, sage Yajnavalkya was ready to drop this Grihastha-ashrama. Grihastha-ashrama, this is the second of the ashramas. What do I mean by ashrama? Ashrama is the stage in life. You would have all heard Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyasa. These are ashramas. Brahmacharya ashrama, Grihastha ashrama, Vanaprastha ashrama and Sannyasa ashrama. So, sage Yajnavalkya had gone through Brahmacharya, had also gone through Grihastha and was probably somewhere nearing Vanaprastha. Now, one always has a choice of moving into Sannyasa ashrama either directly after Brahmacharya. We have seen so many people who never got married, who went on to become great sannyasis and have contributed so much, isn't it, to the world of knowledge. And others who do step into the Grihastha-ashrama live that Grihastha-ashrama efficiently for whatever length of time, and they can move into Vanaprastha and then into Sannyasa, or in some cases, as and when they are ready, they can directly take up sannyasashrama. So sage Yajnavalkya felt kind of fulfilled with all this grihasthashrama activities, and he took a decision that he would step into sannyasashrama. Now he had to communicate this to his wives. So he called Maitreyi, Maitreyi being the elder wife. She was kind of surprised when he said, look, I am embracing the sannyasa ashrama, the fourth ashrama, and so for me all this wealth is of no use, and I would like to divide the property, whatever wealth is there, between you and Katyayani. Katyayani is the younger wife. So he just informed this. Maitreyi thought about it. You are leaving all this behind so we may be comfortable. You are leaving us with all this wealth and you are going elsewhere, which means there is something more than just this. I have a question. O sage, will all this wealth, will it give me eternal happiness? Will it give me fearlessness? Will having all this wealth give me immortality? Sage Yajnavalkya was surprised pleasantly and he said, no, my dear, this wealth cannot give you immortality. It will definitely keep you comfortable. It will probably bring you respect. And just like you see the respectable people, the rich people in the society, you will also lead a life like that. But none of the possessions of the world can give you amritatva or immortality. Then Maitreyi thought, of what use is all this to me if I cannot at the end of it get eternal happiness or fearlessness or amritatva? O sage, tell me more about that for which you are leaving this grihasthashrama and moving on. Tell me if it is possible to find that eternal satisfaction, that eternal happiness. Is it possible to be absolutely fearless? If all these things of the world is only going to bring me more insecurity, fear, it's not going to promise me eternal happiness and it is not going to take me to amritatva, why would I want to pursue it? Tell me, Bhagavan, is there a possibility that I may attain that immortality, that eternal happiness which you are in search of? Sage Yajnavalkya was so happy and he exclaimed and said, what a wonderful question you have posed, my dear. I never thought that you would think in these terms, that you would come up with a question like this. In spite of giving you all this wealth, you are not shaken by it and you are asking me such a wonderful question. Now that you have asked me, listen to me, dear one. And I would like to read out the mantra as is, because it's a very beautiful mantra and it is quoted in many of the lectures on Upanishads, talks on Upanishads, wherever Upanishads are being propagated, taught, spoken about, invariably somewhere in some context this will come. So sage Yajnavalkya says, Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. Atma va are drashtavyaha shrotavyo mantavyo nididhyasitavyaha. Maitreyi, Atmano va are darshanena shravanena matya vijnanenedam sarvam viditam. What does this mean? It says, rather, Sage Yajnavalkya says, Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. It is in the desire for oneself that everything becomes dear. Atma va are drashtavyaha shrotavyo mantavyo nididhyasitavyaha. Atma or the self is to be sought, it is to be heard about, is to be thought in the mind and is to be meditated upon. Maitreyi Atmaneva are darshanena shravanena matya vijnanenedam sarvam viditam. Maitreyi, by finding the Atma, by hearing, thinking and meditating upon the Atma, everything becomes known. And the Upanishad goes on to say that after that, nothing worthwhile remains to be desired for. Nothing worthwhile is there to be acquired. Nothing worthwhile is there to be possessed. Because nothing worthwhile exists. And this is how the dialogue between the couple Yajnavalkya, sage Yajnavalkya and Maitreyi brings out a very profound message that no matter how much wealth, no matter what type of wealth, as long as it's part of the world, as long as it's something acquired, something that is different from me, apart from me, can never give me immortality, can never give me eternal happiness, can never give me fearlessness. This profound message that comes out in the form of a dialogue between the sage and his wife is a very beautiful one in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, and also a very famous Samvada, Yajnavalkya Maitreyi Samvada. And it also shows how a wife was so respected, a lady of the house was so respected then, that if she chose to go in search of this highest knowledge, to go in search of the self, nobody would stop her. Knowledge was freely given to whoever sincerely wanted it. Now this was about Maitreyi, but if you remember, sage Yajnavalkya had two wives. We saw how Maitreyi shunned all that wealth that was to come to her and rather decided to follow her husband in the pursuit of the self. But the younger wife Katyayani was given more to worldliness. She was not interested in all of this, the Atman and all of that. She was not interested. She did not put her mind to it. And she was very happy with all the wealth that was left behind for her. So it's the same sage, the same atmosphere, same environment, the same decision was put forth in front of both the wives, and we see how distinctly different each one's decision was. It does not matter. We don't call anybody higher or lower. Everybody one day will end up in this pursuit of the self, because that is the very purpose of this human birth. With this story, may we all be inspired to be like Maitreyi, to sit back and reflect and see if all the possessions that we have, all that we strive for, is it going to give me that eternal happiness that I really want? Is it going to give me that absolute fearlessness that I am looking for? Is it going to give me immortality? Because deep down, I want to live forever. I want to be happy forever. I want to be eternal, and I want to be absolutely fearless. And the Upanishad roars, all the Upanishads roar that you are eternity. You are that eternal happiness. You are that absolute fearlessness. And you are immortal. What more assurance does one need? We just have to step onto the path and walk the path until the goal of self-realization is reached. Om Shri Sadgurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.